Hi, my name is Amar. Thank you for coming back and watching Conversations with Jennifer. Jennifer's an estate planning attorney, and today we're going to be talking about blended families. And so there's a lot of estate planning with blended families, right, Jennifer?
Correct. So this is a really big topic that we address a lot in estate planning. I was telling Amar before we got on the camera that I have actually given presentations on this topic because it is such an important and complicated topic with divorce rates as high as they are these days. Addressing estate planning for blended families is becoming more and more prevalent. And we essentially see basically three different types of blended families in my practice. One is you have spouses who were both previously married, had children of that marriage, and are since divorced and now remarried. So they've blended their families, but don't have any children of their own marriage. So that's the first one. Second one is one or both spouses have children from a prior marriage or relationship, have gotten married, and now have children of their marriage. Blended with children outside as well as a part of their marriage. And then the final one that we see with a lot of frequency, particularly here in San Diego, is vast age differences as far as the blended family. So, maybe no children of their marriage, but you have spouses who are 20, 30 years age difference, and they bring a unique kind of issue to address from an estate planning perspective, because we have to be sensitive to the age of the children who are potentially waiting for this new spouse to pass away, and they're the same age or maybe even older than the new spouse. So that
Yeah,
brings a unique set of facts that we need to address whenever we're dealing with blended families.
yeah, that is for sure. And I think also sometimes, like, we may not be in a blended family, but like our parents
Yep.
or our children could be in a potential situation to be in a blended family. I just recently had a client who's they're in their 60s. Their dad, who's in mid 80s, just remarried.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that creates a lot of estate planning concerns and questions and things to kind of visit in there. I think maybe we should spend some time talking about like what happens with accounts where you have named beneficiaries. So we're thinking IRAs, Roth IRAs, 401ks, 457 plans.
Yeah.
How
Life
did those
insurance.
beneficiary go ahead?
Oh, I said life insurance is
Life
another
insurance, yeah, I mean that's a big one.
asset with a beneficiary designation.
Yeah, so anything that's like payable on death or transfer on death or is by operation of contract, right?
Mhm.
So like trusts and stuff that nature go by operation of law, operation of contract. You're naming that beneficiary
Correct.
within that account.
Yeah. So these types of assets are unique in that, as you said, they go based on a beneficiary designation. And as I mentioned earlier, blended families bring a level of complication to the estate plan. So when you're dealing with a beneficiary designation, which sometimes does not give you a lot of room to include who should get what when, it's a particular asset that you need to pay attention to as far as who's listed on that beneficiary designation. Is it children? Is it ex-spouse? And I'll talk about that in a second. Is it new spouse? So whenever we do estate planning, we talk about what we're going to put in place now, but also what did you do previously? And beneficiary designations are sometimes forgotten. They were sometimes done years prior, and clients don't remember who they have listed as a beneficiary on a 401k or an IRA or a life insurance policy. So it's a great time to take a look at that. The issue is again, you can't include a lot of details in that. So when you're thinking about your global estate plan, you need to think about, is this particular asset going to go just to my spouse? Is it going to be going in percentages, maybe partly to my spouse? partly to children. You can have it all going to children. You could also have it going to a totally different beneficiary entirely. But it's important to make sure you think about these assets and, again, update the beneficiary designation. You can also have them flow through trusts. Life insurance policies are much easier to have flow through a trust than retirement plans, because retirement plans, as you know, Amar, are governed by ERISA laws, and ERISA laws are very, very complicated as far as who's the deemed or designated beneficiary. And anytime we include trusts, you need to be careful about making sure we have the right language and the right beneficiary is going to be captured in that trust. So just looking at the beneficiary designation, seeing the level of complication you want to get into as far as that asset and how best to implement it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And just thinking about those three examples that you listed earlier, you could rename the beneficiary of your retirement account your new spouse, but you want the contingent beneficiary to be the children of your first marriage.
Correct.
But once that IRA or 401k asset goes to your new spouse, it's their account. They can retitle the beneficiaries however they want. Now, we hope and pray that everything goes by your wishes, but that's not how things happen, right? I'm sure you have some stories as an estate planner where things have changed.
I do. So, and again, ERISA laws are very particular and specific about the beneficiary listed. I had one client who was the second spouse of a decedent, and decedent had updated all of his assets. Everything was held in trust. Or was updated on the retirement account, except for one small retirement account that he had, and he still listed his ex-spouse. And based on federal laws, that beneficiary designation was controlling. And the fact that he had divorced this former spouse 10, 15 years prior, it didn't matter. So the fact that he had listed an ex-spouse, she received those assets, and his new spouse, who he clearly intended to receive all of his assets, was not able to capture that asset. So again, making sure you're tracking all the different assets you have and taking a look at what are my beneficiary designations and making sure they're still up to date when major life changes happen is really important to do.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, this is going to be maybe like a 2 or 3 part series because there's a lot to cover with blended families, a lot of different pieces, and we want to cover them in like small bite-sized consumable sections, if you will. So stay tuned. We'll have part 1, 2, 3. We'll see how far we go with this. And please hit the like button. It helps other people find our content. And if you have any questions or concerns, please put it in the comments below and we'll do our best to reply. Thanks, Jennifer.
Great. Thank you.